We're going to switch gears now and turn to a new documentary about Princess Diana, where we hear from her older sister and the questions she still has about the night Diana died 20 years ago.
The story of Princess Diana's untimely death has been shrouded in controversy and speculation for decades, and recent revelations by her sister Sarah McCorquodale have only added fuel to the already blazing fire of conspiracy theories. The narrative that has been built around that fateful night, of orchestrated circumstances and covert machinations, has taken an even darker turn with the new admission that many had long suspected. The shocking confession from Sarah, which hints at deliberate planning and manipulation behind the events, has not only unsettled those who revered Diana's memory, but has also compelled onlookers to re-examine the hidden forces at play. This account delves into the intricate details of that confession, the broader implications of the claims made, and the unsettling possibility that figures in the royal circle, including Camilla, might have been involved in a far more complex web of intrigue than previously imagined. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. The events leading up to that tragic night have always been the subject of relentless debate. For years, whispers of an orchestrated plan have circled in hushed tones among conspiracy theorists and investigative journalists alike. The recent remarks by Sarah McCorquodale, however, have shifted the conversation from mere speculation to what some are beginning to interpret as an outright admission. Her words, carefully measured yet heavy with implication, suggest that the world's understanding of the incident might have been based on an incomplete picture, one deliberately obscured by powerful interests. According to her, the circumstances surrounding the princess's demise were not a random accident, but rather the result of a systematic inside operation aimed at silencing a voice that had become dangerously influential. In an atmosphere where trust in institutions is already deeply eroded, the idea that a calculated plan might have been set in motion to orchestrate such a devastating event resonates powerfully with many who have long questioned official narratives. The public had always been divided between those who saw the accident as a tragic twist of fate and those who suspected that there was something more sinister behind it. Now, with Sarah's admission, the scales may be tipping in favor of the latter interpretation. Her account, though couched in vague language and marked by emotional undertones, is seen by some as a critical piece of evidence that confirms long-held suspicions. The notion that the fatal crash was not merely the result of misfortune, but the culmination of deliberate actions by individuals with access to secretive networks, has sent shockwaves through both the media and the corridors of power. The implications of this admission extend far beyond the boundaries of royal intrigue. They strike at the very heart of public trust in the establishment. If indeed the death of a beloved public figure was engineered from within, it raises uncomfortable questions about the mechanisms of power and influence that govern our societies. For many, this realization marks a turning point. A moment when the public can no longer afford to accept simplistic narratives that hide the messy reality of political and social manipulation. The idea that a death so symbolic in its impact might have been the result of an inside job challenges the basic assumptions that many have held about fairness, justice, and the sanctity of individual life. A central aspect of this narrative is the involvement of Camilla, whose name has been repeatedly linked to various controversial episodes throughout the royal saga. The suggestion that she could have played a role in this intricate scheme is particularly disturbing, as it forces a re-examination of not only her personal actions, but also the broader network of relationships and loyalties that define the inner circles of the monarchy. The concept that a member of the royal entourage, whose loyalties have often been questioned, might have participated in orchestrating such a significant event adds an extra layer of complexity to an already tangled web. The intertwining of personal ambitions, hidden alliances, and political calculations paints a picture of a high-stakes game where the cost of failure is measured not in mere political capital, but in human lives. In exploring the confession and its implications, it is essential to consider the context in which it was made. Sarah McCorquodale, known for her deep ties to the royal family and her intimate understanding of the intricate dynamics that have long characterized their world, provides a perspective that is both insider and dissident. Her account is laced with references to the pressures and manipulations that have historically plagued the institution. The revelation that the death might have been a calculated move designed to silence dissent or eliminate a disruptive influence is as chilling as it is plausible within the framework of political intrigue. The suggestion is that Diana, whose humanitarian efforts and unfiltered commentary had already made her a thorn in the side of the establishment, became too potent a force to be allowed to exist unchallenged. Her death, as recounted by Sarah, was not an accident but a necessary step in a broader plan to maintain the status quo. The mechanics of such a conspiracy, if one accepts the veracity of the admission, would have required the collusion of multiple actors operating at various levels of authority. It hints at a scenario where the convergence of personal vendettas, political ambitions, and a desperate desire to control public opinion resulted in a situation where extreme measures were justified in the name of national interest. In this light, the role of Camilla, often viewed as a controversial figure due to her own history and relationship with the crown, becomes a focal point. Her potential involvement raises questions about the extent to which personal relationships and rivalries can override the public good and lead to decisions that have catastrophic consequences. The ramifications of such actions are profound, touching on themes of power, betrayal, and the dark underbelly of elite circles where loyalty is often subordinate to ambition. Beyond the personal dynamics and the tragic human cost, the implications of the admission are wide-reaching, suggesting a fundamental rethinking of the events that have defined the modern history of the British monarchy. If indeed the tragic incident was not an unfortunate accident but a meticulously planned operation, then the very fabric of the narrative that has been constructed over decades is called into question. The official statements and subsequent investigations, which have long been accepted as definitive, suddenly appear as a patchwork of convenient omissions and deliberate misdirections. This realization invites a broader debate about the nature of truth in public discourse and the mechanisms by which history is recorded and remembered. It challenges the idea that a single, unassailable truth can ever be fully known in a world where power operates in shadows, and where the official record is only one version among many. The psychological impact of this revelation on the public consciousness cannot be understated. For generations, Diana's death has been a symbol of loss, of the cruel intersection between celebrity and tragedy. The possibility that her demise was not simply the product of fate, but a deliberate act of silencing a maverick force within society, stirs up deep emotions and forces individuals to grapple with unsettling questions about the nature of justice and accountability. It forces a confrontation with the idea that those entrusted with safeguarding the public interest may sometimes operate in ways that are profoundly at odds with that responsibility. The psychological toll is compounded by the realization that the trust placed in institutions and figures of authority has been undermined by acts that appear to be premeditated and calculated. This erosion of trust, once complete, is difficult to rebuild, and it leaves behind a legacy of disillusionment that can have far-reaching consequences for the fabric of society. In the complex mosaic of events that led to that fateful night, there is a tapestry woven with secrets, lies, and hidden agendas. The admission by Sarah McCorquodale does not exist in isolation, but is part of a larger body of evidence that has been gradually emerging over the years. Details that were once dismissed as anomalies now coalesce into a pattern that suggests the involvement of individuals who were operating not merely as passive observers, but as active participants in a grand design. The implication is that the events were orchestrated in a manner that left little room for chance, with every element meticulously planned and executed by those who held the power to control outcomes. Such a narrative compels a re-examination of every piece of evidence that has been collected over the years, from the technical details of the crash to the intricate web of relationships within the royal circle. One of the most disturbing aspects of this unfolding drama is the possibility that the forces behind the operation had both the foresight and the ruthlessness to ensure that no trace of their involvement could be easily uncovered. The precision of the plan, as suggested by Sarah's admission, indicates that it was not the result of a spur-of-the-moment decision, but rather the culmination of long-term strategic planning. This kind of calculated brutality, if true, is indicative of a system where human life is expendable in the pursuit of preserving a certain order. The moral implications are staggering, as it forces a confrontation with the question of whether the ends truly justify the means when the stakes involve not only the life of an individual, but the very principles upon which a society is built. Within this context, the role of key individuals such as Camilla becomes a lightning rod for intense scrutiny and debate. Her potential involvement in the conspiracy, as implied by the new revelations, positions her at the center of a storm that challenges both public perception and historical narrative. It raises the unsettling prospect that personal ambition and hidden grievances may have led to decisions that had irreversible consequences. The idea that a figure within the inner sanctum of the royal establishment could have played a part in such a momentous act forces a reassessment of not only her character, but also the broader network of relationships that underpin the monarchy's operations. The presence of such figures in positions of influence, combined with the willingness to engage in morally ambiguous actions, paints a picture of a world where loyalty and honor are secondary to self-preservation and the pursuit of power. As the layers of this complex narrative are peeled back, one is confronted with the chilling reality that the mechanisms of power may operate in ways that are both hidden and profoundly unsettling. The admission by Sarah McCorquodale, while limited in its explicit details, opens the door to a re-examination of the events that have long been accepted as fact. It forces a critical inquiry into the ways in which information is controlled, disseminated, and ultimately accepted as truth by the public. In a world where official accounts are often seen as infallible, the emergence of evidence that suggests a deliberate manipulation of events is both revolutionary and terrifying. It implies that the narratives we hold dear may be nothing more than carefully constructed illusions, designed to maintain the status quo at the expense of transparency and accountability. The intellectual and emotional journey that this revelation prompts is one marked by a deep sense of betrayal and disillusionment. For many, the loss of Princess Diana was a moment of profound sorrow, a symbol of the fragility of life in the face of overwhelming forces. To now consider that her death might have been orchestrated by those who were supposed to protect her legacy is to confront a harsh reality about the nature of power and control. It challenges the idealistic view that the world is governed by impartial forces of justice and instead suggests a landscape where hidden agendas and secret alliances determine the course of events. This narrative, with its intricate interplay of personal vendettas, institutional corruption, and the cold calculus of power, leaves a lasting imprint on the collective consciousness of those who have long sought the truth. The resonance of this admission extends into the realms of political theory and the study of state power. It invites a broader discussion about the role of clandestine operations in shaping the course of history and the ways in which narratives are constructed to serve the interests of the powerful. The idea that the death of a public figure of such monumental importance could be the result of an internal conspiracy forces a rethinking of conventional wisdom regarding the relationship between state power and individual destiny. It challenges scholars and citizens alike to reconsider the boundaries between fact and fiction, between the official record and the hidden truths that lie beneath the surface. This process of re-examination is both painful and necessary, as it forces a confrontation with the possibility that history, as it is commonly understood, may be a far cry from the complex reality that underpins every major event. The emotional and intellectual impact of such a revelation is not confined to academic circles or political theorists. It reaches deep into the heart of popular culture and collective memory, where the figure of Princess Diana has come to symbolize hope, compassion, and the eternal struggle against injustice. The notion that her life was cut short not by fate, but by the deliberate machinations of a shadowy cabal resonates with those who have long felt betrayed by the institutions they once trusted. It is a narrative that speaks to the deep-seated desire for accountability and the unyielding pursuit of truth, even when that truth is obscured by layers of deceit. The stark imagery of a carefully orchestrated tragedy, where every detail has been manipulated to serve a hidden agenda, leaves an indelible mark on the public imagination and forces a reckoning with the realities of power in modern society. In examining the implications of Sarah McCorquodale's confession, it becomes clear that the legacy of that fateful night is far more complex than a mere accident or a random misfortune. The unfolding narrative suggests that every element of the tragedy, from the conditions on the night in question to the intricate network of relationships among those involved, was part of a broader design. This design, if indeed it was deliberate, reveals a level of planning and ruthlessness that is both unprecedented and deeply disturbing. It forces an acknowledgement that the systems of power we rely on for our sense of security and order may be more fragile and susceptible to corruption than we had ever imagined. The recognition of such vulnerability is a sobering reminder of the need for vigilance and the constant pursuit of transparency in all spheres of governance. The revelation also has profound implications for the way in which we view the individuals who occupy positions of power and influence. It compels a closer examination of the actions and motivations of those who have long operated behind the scenes, steering the course of events with a level of discretion that borders on the clandestine. The admission suggests that the personal ambitions and hidden alliances within the royal circle were not merely incidental, but central to the unfolding of events. This insight challenges the conventional portrayal of the monarchy as an institution guided solely by tradition and duty, instead highlighting the role of personal agency and moral ambiguity in shaping historical outcomes. The fact that such dynamics could culminate in an act of such magnitude as the orchestrated demise of a beloved figure is a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of human ambition. The intricate details of the confession, though lacking in explicit specificity, evoke a sense of deep-seated betrayal and calculated malice. The language used to describe the chain of events is deliberately ambiguous, yet every word seems chosen to hint at the presence of forces operating far beyond the public eye. This intentional vagueness is itself a powerful tool, as it leaves ample room for interpretation and speculation. In a climate where certainty is hard to come by and every official statement is met with skepticism, the measured tone of Sarah McCorquodale's admission serves as both a revelation and a challenge. It calls upon the public to scrutinize the established narratives and to demand answers that have long been withheld. The implications of this demand are far-reaching, as it sets in motion a process of inquiry that has the potential to reshape our understanding of not only that singular event, but also of the broader mechanisms of control and influence in modern society. The emergence of such a narrative in the public sphere is a testament to the enduring power of inquiry and the relentless quest for truth in the face of overwhelming adversity. It serves as a stark reminder that even the most carefully guarded secrets can eventually be brought to light by those with the courage to speak out. The confession by Sarah McCorquodale, regardless of its eventual corroboration or dismissal by official channels, marks a turning point in the ongoing struggle to understand the true nature of power and the ways in which it is wielded. It underscores the fact that behind every official account lies a labyrinth of motivations, hidden agendas, and unspoken truths, each waiting to be uncovered by those who dare to question the status quo. In the midst of this turbulent and emotionally charged landscape, the involvement of figures like Camilla becomes emblematic of the broader issues at play. The mere suggestion that she could have played a part in orchestrating such a pivotal event forces a re-examination of her role within the royal narrative and highlights the often overlooked complexities of personal ambition and loyalty within elite circles. Her potential involvement adds another layer of intrigue to an already convoluted tale, suggesting that the lines between personal interest and public duty are far more blurred than many would care to admit. The possibility that personal grievances, rivalries, and a desire for power might converge to produce outcomes of such devastating consequence is a sobering thought, one that forces a critical reevaluation of the institutions and individuals that have long shaped the destiny of nations. The cascade of implications that follow from this confession is not easily contained within the boundaries of traditional historical analysis. It transcends the realm of mere narrative and enters into the sphere of moral and philosophical inquiry. At its core, the story challenges the conventional wisdom that has long been used to justify the actions of those in power. It demands that we confront the uncomfortable possibility that the veneer of legitimacy that cloaks the most revered institutions may be nothing more than an elaborate facade, concealing a far more sinister reality beneath. In this light, the confession takes on a new dimension, serving as both a personal revelation and a catalyst for broader societal introspection. The interplay between public perception and institutional reality is a recurring theme in the unfolding narrative of that tragic night. The intricate dance of appearances and reality, where the surface story is meticulously crafted to hide deeper truths, is a pattern that has been repeated throughout history. The admission from Sarah McCorquodale, by challenging the accepted version of events, exposes the inherent fragility of the narrative that has long been taken for granted. It invites a critical examination of the processes by which truth is constructed and disseminated, urging a reconsideration of the role of transparency and accountability in modern governance. This process is not merely academic, but has real-world implications for how societies understand and respond to crises of trust and legitimacy. In the grand tapestry of events that have defined the modern era, the death of Princess Diana stands out as a moment of profound loss and enduring mystery. The possibility that her demise was not an accident, but a meticulously orchestrated act of sabotage, reshapes our understanding of that pivotal moment. The careful orchestration of events, as implied by Sarah's admission, suggests that there were elements operating in the background with motives and strategies that were as complex as they were ruthless. This revelation forces a confrontation with the uncomfortable truth that the dynamics of power, with all their hidden machinations and secret pacts, may ultimately determine the course of history in ways that defy conventional explanation. The narrative that emerges from these revelations is one of deep complexity and enduring enigma. It is a story where every detail, no matter how seemingly insignificant, plays a role in the grand design of a tragedy that has captivated the imagination of millions. The implications of such a narrative are profound, touching on questions of morality, justice, and the very nature of power itself. In a world where the line between truth and fabrication is increasingly blurred, the confession by Sarah McCorquodale stands as a stark reminder of the need to remain vigilant in our pursuit of understanding. It challenges us to look beyond the official accounts and to consider the possibility that the forces that shape our world are far more intricate and elusive than we have ever imagined. As the layers of this complex narrative continue to unfold, the importance of a nuanced perspective becomes ever more apparent. The admission, with all its subtle implications and deliberate ambiguities, is not simply a damning indictment of a single event, but a call to re-examine the entire system of power that has long operated in the shadows. It forces us to consider the broader implications of allowing unchecked authority to govern the lives of individuals, and it challenges us to envision a world where transparency and accountability are not optional, but fundamental to the very fabric of society. The potential involvement of key figures, including Camilla, in a plot of such magnitude, underscores the inherent dangers of concentrating power in the hands of a few, and the devastating consequences that can ensue when ambition and secrecy converge. In reflecting upon these revelations, it becomes clear that the truth is often more elusive than we care to admit. The intricate interplay of personal ambition, institutional manipulation, and hidden agendas creates a scenario in which the lines between victim and perpetrator, between justice and injustice, are dangerously blurred. The admission by Sarah McCorquodale, with its carefully chosen words and deliberate ambiguities, invites us to look deeper into the forces that shape our world. A world where even the most cherished symbols of hope and compassion can become entangled in the web of deceit spun by those who would rather see the truth remain hidden. Every new piece of information that emerges, every confession that adds to the mosaic of evidence, reinforces the unsettling possibility that the death of Princess Diana was not an isolated tragedy, but part of a broader narrative of manipulation and control. The implications of this realization extend far beyond the confines of royal intrigue and touch upon the very foundations of modern governance and public trust. They force a confrontation with the uncomfortable truth that the narratives we have long taken for granted may be little more than elaborate constructions, designed to obscure the real forces at work behind the scenes. The intricacies of the admission and its implications are not easily reconciled with the simplistic narratives that have long been promoted by those in power. They demand a level of critical engagement and intellectual rigor that challenges even the most seasoned observers of history. The idea that a death so pivotal in its cultural and historical impact could have been orchestrated by internal forces, with figures such as Camilla implicated in the machinations, forces us to confront the uncomfortable reality that truth can be as elusive as it is damning. It is a reminder that the quest for justice is often a long and arduous journey, one that requires unwavering determination in the face of powerful interests intent on preserving a carefully constructed illusion. In this unfolding saga, every detail matters, every nuance carries the weight of a larger truth waiting to be uncovered. The admission by Sarah McCorquodale is more than a mere footnote in the annals of royal history. It is a clarion call to those who have long sought to understand the hidden dynamics of power. It compels us to question not only the events of that fateful night, but also the broader structures that allow such events to occur. The possibility that the death of Princess Diana was the result of an inside job, and that figures like Camilla may have played a role, forces us to rethink our assumptions about loyalty, honor, and the nature of power in modern society. In the final analysis, the confession serves as a potent reminder that history is not a static collection of events, but a dynamic and evolving narrative shaped by the interplay of countless forces, some visible, some hidden. It challenges the complacency of accepted wisdom and invites a more critical, discerning examination of the past. The implications of this new perspective are profound, as they extend beyond the individual tragedy to touch on the broader themes of accountability and the struggle for truth in an age where the lines between reality and fiction are increasingly blurred. The narrative that has long been constructed around that fateful night is now under intense scrutiny, and the admission by Sarah McCorquodale stands as a testament to the enduring power of truth, no matter how deeply it may be buried beneath layers of deception. The story, with its twists and revelations, is a reminder that the search for truth is a continuous process, one that requires vigilance, courage, and a willingness to question even the most deeply entrenched narratives. It is an invitation to look beyond the surface of official accounts and to recognize that behind every tragedy lies a complex web of motivations and decisions, some noble, others ignoble, all intertwined in a manner that defies simple explanation. The admission by Sarah McCorquodale, with its profound implications and unsettling suggestions, serves as a powerful catalyst for this deeper inquiry, a call to peel back the layers of deception and confront the realities that lie hidden in the shadows of power. In embracing this challenge, the narrative becomes not just a tale of personal loss and betrayal, but a broader exploration of the forces that shape our world. It is a narrative that asks hard questions about the nature of truth, the price of ambition, and the lengths to which individuals and institutions will go to maintain control over the narrative of history. The legacy of that fateful night, and the confessions that have emerged in its wake, compel us to acknowledge that the pursuit of power is often accompanied by a willingness to sacrifice truth on the altar of convenience and self-interest. This realization is as sobering as it is transformative, inviting a reassessment of the very foundations upon which our collective understanding of history is built. The journey of uncovering the hidden dimensions of that tragic event is far from over, and each new revelation adds another layer of complexity to a story that has captivated the imagination of millions. The admission by Sarah McCorquodale is a stark reminder that even in the realm of the most closely guarded secrets, the truth has a way of emerging, sometimes slowly, sometimes with overwhelming force, to challenge the narratives that have long been accepted as truth. In this sense, the confession is not merely a personal statement, but a beacon for those who continue to search for clarity and justice in a world where the lines between light and shadow are in constant flux. As the narrative continues to unfold, the weight of its implications lingers in the collective consciousness, a testament to the enduring impact of events that defy simple explanation. The admission by Sarah McCorquodale, with all its ambiguities and resonances, forces a confrontation with the uncomfortable reality that the events of that fateful night may have been shaped by forces far more insidious than previously imagined. It is a narrative that challenges the comforting certainties of the past and demands a new level of scrutiny and accountability from those who wield power. The potential involvement of figures like Camilla only deepens the intrigue, underscoring the extent to which personal ambitions and hidden alliances can drive actions that reverberate through the annals of history. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us. What are your thoughts on Sarah McCorquodale confirming theories about Princess Diana's death? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.